find a way to turn things around in round 6 of a scheduled 12 against Jorge Linares. And Harold Letterman gave that last round to DeMarco, narrowing the lead on the scorecards to 49-46.
Probably because of that beautiful right uppercut that he landed on Linares.
There's a hard right hand by DeMarco. Good quick right hook, one of his best punches so far.
I thought Linares has won every round, including last round, where though DeMarco did better work, I think our eye has been unaccustomed to seeing Linares' head do what it just did, which is snap back from the punch.
Hard right hand by Linares.
But if he's learned about scoring, sometimes some rounds are just scored comparatively.
Right.
Because one does better in one round than he did in a previous round.
And your eye gets trained to see one guy's head snap back. So when the other guy's head snaps back, you can kind of, it leaves a greater impression.
Well, certainly DeMarco's more comfortable and more engaged in the fight than was the case in round 1 when he seemed stunned by Linares' speed. He isn't in that mode anymore at all. It's a fight.
Yeah. Even though Linares is winning, like as you said, Jim, it is a fight right now.
And this is an important...
DeMarco is fighting very, very seriously and has a lot of confidence in himself still.
Dedicated, spirited fighter. He put up a heck of a show against the
Edwin Valero.
Tremendous punching Edwin Valero a couple of years ago.
This is an important test for Linares, a
Good
young
hard
fighter.
Left hand by DeMarco down the middle.
A young fighter who's shown up to win and is fighting with energy and is not getting discouraged. How does Linares respond?
Now, this is DeMarco's best round, it appears to me. And if Harold Letterman gave DeMarco the last round, he might wind up giving him this one too, because DeMarco's landed some very good, clean shots in the last minute, and now there's blood on Linares' nose. And once again, Linares starts to show that instinct of wanting to fire back and attack when it's clear that he's been hurt and been marked.
Freddie Roach told Linares to control the action with his jab because DeMarco is starting to get a little rowdy and trying to take the fight to Linares. Linares has not heeded that advice.
Well, he couldn't. After the first round, DeMarco got adjusted to his speed. At first, he was bewildered by the speed of Linares, and from that point on, Linares has never been able to just dominate him by landing blows. And at this stage right now, DeMarco's coming on and actually winning the fight at this last 2 rounds.
Well, ever since the blood appeared, however, Linares has gone back at him with force and with effectiveness.
Yep. And the Mexican fans have come alive.
Good uppercut by DeMarco after the 2 good body shots by Linares.
Linares, because he's not using the jab, is fighting the fight right now at DeMarco's preferred distance and getting hit far too often.
Linares' excellent cut man, Joe Chavez, is going to have work to do between rounds. Hard to tell exactly where the cut is, but it appears to be above the eyebrow. Jorge Linares was once regarded as one of the most outstanding prospects to come into the sport in recent years. And despite the 1-round knockout disaster a couple of years ago in Juan Salgado, Freddie Roach and physical trainer Alex Ariza cannot conceal their enthusiasm about Linares, who they think is, if anything, potentially a better prospect than Khan.
I thought Linares was the most natural fighter in the game. One of the most, one of the real prodigies of recent years. And everyone was very shocked when he was knocked out in the first round by Salgado.
Well, immediately here you see the movement, the bounce me on his feet, the strong, assertive jab, the broad shoulders on a 135-pound body. Jorge Linares physically has everything. Maybe not big punching power, but everything else. And incidentally, he's fighting with pink gloves as a significant tribute to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You'll notice that the neutral corners both have pink ring pads denoting the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Awareness Campaign. The entire ring is presented here tonight in support of breast cancer awareness by Golden Boy Promotions and Gary Shaw.
Amir Khan, by the way, Freddie Roach's other reclamation project, is seated next to Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy himself.
And I don't want Roach and Ariza to get angry at me for saying that they think that Linares can be a better prospect than Khan. What they mean is that his potential is enormous, but he may not yet know how good he can be.
I'm saying, look at DeMarco. We're speaking just about Linares. He's a very cool fighter too. Keeps his distance, rangy, tall. He's not letting Linares get his rhythm. Boxing very smart. But you look at the natural athleticism in Linares, it's phenomenal the way he's balanced, the way he balances his legs, everything. One of the most coordinated athletes I've ever saw.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, you said it, phenomenal. You saw the quick left hook, the speed.
And balance, always.
He's just remarkable.
What's amazing is usually a fighter with natural talent can get away with mistakes and isn't technically superior to world-class opponents. He just has a talent advantage. Linares' natural talent has resulted in amazing technique.
Perfect left hook, and he landed a straight right hand. I mean, this is against a very good opponent, Antonio DeMarco. Some people wondered if Linares was in too deep. He's dominating the first round with activity, movement, speed, boxing ability. Jorge Linares just spent the first 3 minutes making an extremely good fighter look ordinary. He also trains two of its most outstanding prospects in Amir Khan and Jorge Linares. What has made Freddie Roach such an effective trainer?
One thing, he eats and sleeps boxing. He's at the gym at 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. He had a good apprenticeship as a trainer by being a boxer himself from 15, 16 years old, professional fighter. And then he was tutored and mentored by one of the great boxing trainers, Eddie Futch. And as a result, he's made his transition from the beginning all the way up to the top. And he has a good gym where he's got a lot of the top fighters in competition with each other. There's nothing can top that off. And you have the best boxing with the best.
He has the kind of scene that you had at the Kronk in the early days with bushels of terrific fighters in the ring against each other.
Yes, you have the shop fighters, pool shooters, or whatever. They're shooting against the best. The game goes up.
And incidentally, a part of what happens there, of course, is the synergy with Pacquiao. We've talked in the past about Amir Khan's learning curve as the result of getting the chance to spar with Pacquiao. Jorge Linares sparred 30 rounds with Manny Pacquiao in preparation for this fight. He was 16 of 47 in the second round, even more accurate in the second round than in the first. He's blocking DeMarco's right hand with his left and firing back with straight rights. That time DeMarco fired the left down the middle.
I see how Freddie has trained him to be a more aggressive fighter. Linares, I'm not sure. I mean, he can pull it off because he's so talented. But I think his natural disposition is to counterpunch. I don't know if this is really his personality.
Well, if he can do both, because he's a gifted counterpuncher, if Freddie can teach him to lead and dominate that way as well, he's going to be very, very difficult for anyone. Of course, assuming that the chin will hold up. Again, we'd like to see it tested tonight against DeMarco.
As you mentioned, Jim, sparring against Pacquiao. This is
great training. You know, earlier when I first heard of him, he was with Ken Adams, was a trainer when he was invading. Ken Adams,
an uppercut.
What a great fight he was.
That uppercut was sick.
It's like Scottie Pippen scrimmaging against Michael Jordan. You can't help but to get better.
100%. There's a mouse under the left eye of DeMarco, probably from a Linares right hand. Right hand lands for Linares over the top. Lands a combination, takes a right hand and a left from DeMarco. Linares is beginning to show that instinct to answer back after he's been
30 to 27, Jorge Linares. And I think the key to the fight is Jorge Linares just keeps getting off first. He backs Antonio DeMarco, you know, he backs him up and he keeps him off balance. DeMarco doesn't get off unless he's coming forward like that. Linares let him get off first, DeMarco scored. But basically, it's Linares coming forward, getting the first punch in, and he's landing the punches. Now, this is very interesting. Antonio DeMarco bites down on that mouthpiece. For some reason, Jorge Linares has his mouth wide open for 3 rounds. I don't know why, Jim.
Mentioned how Pacquiao helps Linares. The sparring that Pacquiao's getting from Linares pays to be in a good competitive gym.
You know, you mentioned Max Linares' tendency as a natural counterpuncher. A question about fighters at the highest skill level often is, can they fight backing up? I guess in his case, the question is, can he fight going forward?
I guess the answer is yes, based on this.
So far.
Linares is, along with a guy we're going to see next week on Boxing After Dark, Nonito Donaire, of all the kind of under-celebrated, great young up-and-coming fighters, probably the most gifted.
Well, as is usually the case, some people wrote him off after the first round knockout loss to Salgado. But as Emmanuel Stewart said a couple of rounds ago, it can happen to anyone. It happened to Khan, and look where Khan is now.
Donaire has a much more extensive and impressive resume than Linares at this point in their careers.
Way more accomplished, of course. But the gifts are similar, is what you're saying.
Yeah. You know, the first thing I thought about was Nonito Donaire when I saw him. Just naturally gifted, perfect balance, well-coordinated athletes. They can punch and get in and out of a position so quickly that the opponent can't even take advantage of them, even if they miss a punch.
I actually think Donaire is a more talented athlete. He is maybe faster with better punching power, but Linares combines that sort of thing with real craft at this stage in his career that you don't normally see.
Partially because he's handsome, and partially because his promoter in Japan, Mr. Honda, is a friend of Oscar De La Hoya's. The comparison has always been to De La Hoya. Is there, in fact, a similarity in style, Emmanuel?
Yes, it is. Oscar had a beautiful left jab that was coming up. It had a strange left hook that was very effective. He was a better puncher probably than Linares. But for just all-around coordination and balance, I would say Linares is one of the best I've ever saw.
Yeah, I would say there's like something Robinson to his game.
And I think Chad knows that he's going in fight with Bernard. Bernard is going to do everything legally that he can do to win, which is what he should do. But normally, in this case here, the cornerman, a trainer, would say something to the referee.
To be fair, the referee's instructions went on for 2.5 to 3 minutes. We only showed you a 1-minute clip, so it's possible that conversation did take place elsewhere. It's possible Scully feels that the point has already been made because promoter Gary Shaw is a battering ram on subjects like that, does a very good job of making officials aware of how he feels if in fact there's a possibility of fouls. Power punches through round 4 in this particular fight. DeMarco 14 of 52. He's having trouble getting off because of Linares' movement. Linares 28 out of 91, including a 14-3 advantage in the 4th round. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Jorge Linares has bad rounds or fades at some point during the fight, because what we've seen in the first 4 rounds appears extraordinary.
And yet, DeMarco, in the face of this extraordinary talent, doesn't seem discouraged to me, and has landed some shots in this round.
Yeah, but look at how Linares landed a 3-punch combination and then easily slipped the right.
Yes, he punches and gets away. Never leaves himself to get caught by stating it in mind his work. After he punches, he moves away.
Oh, hard right hand. Most stunning punch he's thrown.
In the past, Linares has thrown more straight punches. Not to say that these punches are wide, but there are more bent punches here, I notice. Hooks with bad intentions and those sorts of things.
One question the fight may answer is whether you can knock a man out with pink gloves. You can knock breast cancer out, perhaps.
See if Ann Wolfe ever wore pink gloves. I'm sure she knocked some people out.
Anyone she wants. Linares has an interesting way of rolling with punches, Emmanuel. I mean,
yes.
I haven't seen a fighter turn his head as radically as he does. He got hit with an uppercut there by DeMarco. Maybe the best punch in a while for Antonio DeMarco.
And he just tried to roll his head the wrong way with that punch. Straight left hand. He tried to roll as though it was a right hand.
I saw him roll a lot from DeMarco's right hook, which I've never saw anyone do that. That's a fighting southpaw. But, you know, he's been very well taught in addition to his natural coordination. He does a lot of rolling, dipping, and dodging, mixes up everything.
Doesn't just roll. He turns his head all the way around.
Slips, ducks, turns, pivots.
Panamanian Roberto Duran style.
¿Por qué? Te sientes muy amarrado, ya te controló con la velocidad. No tenemos tiempo para estar perdiendo de esta manera. Todo lo hemos llevado de calle y está creciendo y tú te estás arriesgando.